Welcome to this explainer. If you're a focused learner looking to level up your craft from amateur hobbyist to working professional, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're taking a deep, structured look at the art of editing transitions. We're going to break down the exact tools that award-winning filmmakers use to seamlessly guide their audiences. And, we'll see how mastering just a few simple concepts can absolutely transform your storytelling. Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever watched a piece of media, maybe like a student film or a random online clip, where there are spinning cubes, exploding transitions, and just crazy flashy effects between literally every single shot? Right, we've all seen it. It might look technically impressive for, about 5 seconds, but professional editors rarely actually scratch that. They almost never work that way. There's this huge myth out there that to make something look professional, you've got to throw every single visual effect in your software's library at the timeline. No way. As we're going to see today, the simplest choice is almost always the most powerful one. Ultimately, a transition is a storytelling decision. Its entire purpose is to seamlessly guide your audience through time, space, and emotion. Think of it like this. When one scene connects to the next, you are literally leading the viewer by the hand. If you distract them with a wild, unnecessary visual, you're dropping their hand. You break the immersion. It's not just some random effect you throw onto a timeline because it looks kind of cool. It is a highly deliberate, calculated move. Section 1. The Visual Transition Toolkit. So let's break down the 4 primary visual tools editors keep in their back pocket. And keep in mind here, simplicity reigns supreme. This is essentially your core editing playbook. First up, the straight cut. One shot ends, the next begins immediately. Clean, simple, done. Most feature films, think of the incredibly fast-paced, breathless action in a movie like Mad Max Fury Road. They rely on straight cuts for about 95% of their edits. Why? Because they are practically invisible to the audience, keeping the focus entirely on the story. Next, we have the fade in and fade out. Fading to or from black is absolutely perfect for suggesting a clear beginning, a definitive ending, or just a significant pause in the narrative. Third is the dissolve, where 2 shots overlap for a brief moment. Because the images blend together, it creates a much softer change. This is your go-to for showing time passing, maybe entering a memory, or navigating a gentle emotional shift. And finally, the wipe, where a moving line or shape replaces one shot with another. Think of those classic screen wipes in Star Wars. George Lucas loved using them to emulate old adventure serials. But, a word of caution, use this one sparingly because it intentionally creates a highly noticeable stylistic flair. Section 2. Invisible audio transitions. Visual cuts are really only half the battle. Sometimes the most powerful shift happens in our ears first. This is the hidden magic of sound editing that the pros use to connect scenes so seamlessly you don't even notice. Take the J-cut, for example. This is where the audio from the next scene begins before the image actually changes. It pulls the audience into the next moment before they even see it. Then we have its mirrored technique, the L-cut. Here, the sound from your current scene continues playing even after the picture has cut to the next image. Both of these techniques completely trick the human brain. They make scene changes feel incredibly natural, completely masking that hard visual cut and keeping the viewer emotionally locked into the pacing of the story. Section 3. The hiker demonstration. To really cement this, let's apply these theories to a practical timeline. Imagine a traveler who has just finished this grueling, exhausting mountain hike and is finally returning home. In version A, our amateur approach, every scene uses a different, flashy transition. You've got a star wipe here, a spin effect there, and what happens? Well, the audience is suddenly watching the editing software, not the hiker. It's totally distracting. But in version B, the professional approach, we use crisp, straight cuts for the actual hike to keep that energy up. Then, we drop in a purposeful dissolve to indicate that several hours of travel have passed. And as the hiker arrives home, boom, we use a J-cut. We hear the familiar sounds of their house just a split second before we actually see the front door. The story feels perfectly smooth, highly intentional, and entirely focused on the traveler's relief. Section 4. Think like a pro. So, how do we consistently avoid those beginner traps? Well, before you ever drag and drop a visual effect onto your timeline, I want you to run through these 4 questions. Number 1. Does this transition help the story? Number 2, does it improve the clarity of what's happening? Number 3, does it actively support the emotion of the scene? Or number 4, is it simply distracting? It is incredibly common for beginners to add transitions just because the software offers 100 different options, or, to use long dissolves during fast action sequences, which accidentally slows the whole pacing down. If a transition doesn't explicitly serve a purpose on this checklist, a simple straight cut is usually your absolute best choice, for sure. I want to leave you with this powerful final takeaway. A transition is a storytelling tool, not decoration. Audiences sit down to experience a story, not to marvel at your transition effects. If you watch almost any award-winning film, you'll be shocked at how simple the edits really are. The best transition is always the one that feels completely natural in the moment. Now, understanding visual and audio pacing is just the beginning. In our next explainer, we're going to dive much deeper into working with audio in the edit, organizing dialogue, music, and ambient sound to create a truly immersive experience. But until then, I want to leave you with this question to think about the next time you watch your favorite movie. When a scene shifts and you feel a sudden wave of emotion, was it the acting that moved you, or was it the invisible magic of the transition?